I thought that I did. Well, isn't that just not cool? Let me see if I got one. Let me see if I got one. Hmm. I don't think so. And it don't matter where I put that. Yep, I'm in trouble. What's going on, everybody? Yeah, I just realized that I don't have a lower third for abnormal realities, which is just dumb. I thought I did. Gonna have to make one. Phillips, damn it. All right, let me just double check in there. Okay, it's not in there. How's everybody doing? Everybody good? I guess it just don't matter. I mean, no, no, no. In regards to, the lower third thing. That's Wayfinder, Tumblr. Wow, just weird. I'm kind of tripped out right now. All right. Whatever. Hey. All right. I thought I just saw Leah. That was weird. What up, Linda? What's going on, girl? Okay, let's put everybody over here on this screen. We're getting ready to rock and roll. What? Sometimes it doesn't say who it is over there on Facebook, but whoever said, "What's up, brother?" Man, what's up, brother? Back to you. Back to you. What's up, brother? Make sure you share it, man. This is abnormal night, abnormal reality, haunted church. Where are my glasses? Yeah, I need my glasses. It was so nice to read yesterday. It was so nice to read yesterday. It really was. And to actually be able to see the letters. All right, we're running a little behind. Let me get all this. All right. Damn. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. Okay. Whoop, wrong one. Sam's. Wow, today's the 29th. Isn't that a trip? Wow, that's crazy. All right, let's go. All right, I wasn't kicking in on the broadcast. So it wasn't my fault. Don't judge me. Let's try it again. Hmm. Just bear with me, everybody, because you love me. Because you love me. Yes, you do. You love me. Well, it looks like my vocals are just a little hot. Just a little bit. I'm just going to bring that down just a little bit. Let's try it again. This is not me for the record. Hmm. Interesting indeed. Okay, well, you know what? I'll just upload everything after the show is done. Oh, I see what's going on. I see what's going on. I updated my Windows security. That's what it's doing. It's not letting me do it. Okay, let's go. Let's go this way. Stupid. That gets me so mad. It really does. It's so dumb. Everything just took shit out of nowhere, and I wasn't even prepared for it. I wasn't prepared for the shitness of the shittiest of the shitness output. Ay, 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 man. Oh, goodness almighty. All right, here we go. Um, yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Journey into the matrix of the mind. Stretch your imagination and challenge reality. Abnormal realities are beacons for the imagination. What society deems abnormal may be more real than we think. This is Abnormal Realities with your hosts, Ron Phillips and Rocky Stucci.
You know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to not, I'm not getting the finger point from Brother Filippo. I'm used to getting the double round finger point to give me the kick back in. What's going on, everybody? We have Lucky Stone 888 over there in YouTube. We have Paige over there in the YouTube channel. Linda over there on YouTube. Well, everybody's over on YouTube. What's up, Mr. Becker? We got everybody over there on YouTube. Abnormal Realities. We are broadcasting on our YouTube channel. And we are broadcasting on our Facebook page. You can go on and get over there. And I'm also broadcasting on the Odyssey Radio group that we have. Make sure you look it up, Rocky Stucci Odyssey Radio. But welcome to the program this Thursday night. Ron is off this week. Ron, because he got whooped. That dude got whooped. Yeah, I like YouTube too, Paige. You know why I like YouTube is because you can run a higher definition picture. On Facebook, they only, no matter what you run, you can run a 1920, 1080, whatever it is. And no matter what, they're going to compress it down to a 720. At least YouTube allows you to do a little bit higher definition. But if you want really high definition, just go on over to RockyStucciShow.com and click on the show tab. And you can watch the show at the highest definition possible. And there's a chat room over there, too. So if there's ever a failsafe, RockyStucciShow.com. We have a live chat over there from Spreely.tv and Spreely.video. Make sure you get over there. Again, I say it every night, got to say it. For the Rocky Stucci Show, I feel I get screwed up what night it is and what show I'm doing here. The website will be in progress as we continue, and Ron will be a co-pilot on that program as well. So, expect to see a lot of Ron Phillips. So, yeah, so that's where we're at. Thursday night abnormal realities, man. It's weird because house show material, you guys know this. We got the ADHD thing going on. What's up, man? We got the breakdown in the house. It's this weird ADHD thing, man. How we choose to come up with information sometimes, how we choose to come up with show material. When we do the show on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, it's more current event, it's more societal stuff. And that's all good. That's a beautiful thing. But, by 7 o'clock at night, everybody's regurgitated the same thing 55 times. I don't want to regurgitate everything that's already been regurgitated. So that opens up the door of exploration of conversation, whether we do it on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, or we do it on Abnormal Realities, because we're the boss anyways. It don't matter. We can talk about what we want. You know what I mean? I'm drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Yeah, I'm doing a shout out for Dunkin' Donuts. The meatballs are here. Yes, they are. Meatball Army, baby. Oh, what the hell was I saying? Man, I forgot what was I saying. I got distracted by the Meatball Army stuff. But no, it's about content. And me and Ron, we joke around all the time in regards to a certain situation that'll happen somewhere. And all of a sudden, we're just like, boom, show material. I might have to, thank you, Hiram. I appreciate it. I think Westfield Presbyterian Church in New Jersey is haunted by the Hetfield clan. Really? No kidding. That's interesting. If I remember, I'm going to come back to that, and we're going to try to pull something up while we're doing it. That's an interesting thing, because what we're going to be talking about tonight on the program, thank you again, by the way, for that donation, Hiram. What is that? Biffidum? Biffidum. Hiram Biffidum. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program, Hiram Biffidum. We were just recently talking. Well, how this all started was I was just talking recently on a recent show about treatments. And I always tell people from a paranormal side, because this got brought up after the program, people were sending me emails in regards to the correlation with treatments and the spiritual experience in a treatment facility, because I believe treatments are probably one of the darkest places you can go to spiritually, because everybody there lost their shit. They got to go out there and it's going to take them a long time to refine it, So, in regards to a veteran who's going to lose his house, I would like to change the topic. I don't know. It's not saying who it is, but if there's something that we can bring some awareness to, let us know. Send me an email. Let me know. I don't know who you are. It's not saying who you are. It just says Facebook user. But I remember after I got out of treatment and I was going back to these different facilities, and I would go into these facilities and I'd walk in there, I'd feel really gross. And I wasn't really aware. I wasn't really conscious about the paranormal at the time. I just knew that something just felt weird. And so that's kind of one of my things about like the treatment facilities is that when you have people that are spiritually broken, I think that in a lot of ways with that spiritual brokenisms, I know, Linda. See, I'm distracted right now just reading you telling me I'm getting distracted. You see? Um, it's just gross. There are things there. I think that there are things there that are probably more of a non-human thing. But then that led to the topic in regards to churches. Oh, Deb Treadway. Deb hasn't been here all week, I just want to let everybody know that we kind of missed her, you know? No, she has a lot of stuff going on. That's one thing about all of us here, with the family unit that we have. It's man, we all have life. Look at how all you guys came up for me, man. When I'm wearing like a girdle thing right now. I don't know if you guys you can't see it. I'm wearing this thing to kind of hold it up. It's just I still got that swelling and I still got the third boob thing going. And I'm really uncomfortable with that. But I did put some lipstick on the tip of it the other night and it looked fantastic. I felt really weird. Went to Walmart though. You guys have been amazing with me, and we all have life, no matter what life, and it sucks, man. Sometimes life just sucks, and it's this. We learn as we progress in age, man. That it comes down to the unit we are, and who we are, and what we represent, and how we look out for one another. So, Deborah, we notice when you're not here, and I saw your picture, of Mama, today, and man, she's gone through some stuff. And all of you gone through some stuff. So, man, we're all here for you. We're all praying for you. We all got your back 100%. You got any problems, I'm not too far away. We're not too far away. We love the hell out of you. So when we were talking about the treatment centers, the conversation in regards to churches came up. And I've investigated churches. I've actually had some very questionable, using the wrong kind of terminology that I want to use. I've had experiences at churches that were not the experiences that I would say I would expect to have at a church. And it really kind of made me think of some really weird things, man. It just, why, where, when, structures, facilities, locations, geologically speaking. We just recently found out underneath the Goldfield Hotel in Goldfield, Nevada, that there is a certain type of stone that literally gives off energy. I'm not talking about a little namaste type of energy. It gives off this crazy amount. It's like it's like the highest one. I can't remember. I'll find out what it is. We'll talk about it next week on one of the shows. And I guess it covers half the town. So when you had a geologist that came in and they did this study, they found out that the Goldfield Hotel, on top of everything else with the mines and the springs and everything else, you will have this amazing, humongous rock that's the size of a football field. I'm sorry, the size of a half of a town. And it's this rock that produces legitimate energy. And then, it makes you question a lot of things in regards to, okay, so there's a source. So is that source producing a hallucination, or is that source actually creating some kind of a cross frequency between parallels? They say sometimes when the EMF is high, like in Bob Mackey's, that's in Kentucky, a super haunted place. But when you go in there and you go do a baseline readings where you're actually just walking around with an electromagnetic meter, it's literally just monitoring the electromagnetism in the air. Your electricity cords give off electromagnetic energy. Your refrigerators do. So anytime your refrigerator kicks on, you'll get a burst. You'll get a reading. That is if it's not insulated. The older refrigerators you will, the older furnaces you will, the older electrical appliances you will get because they weren't insulated as good. So when you go to an older location that isn't insulated as good, it's not going to insulate that electricity as properly as it should. And so you'll walk into a location that's running a baseline of like a 4 milligauss of an EMF reading, an electromagnetic frequency. And when you look at what that does to the human body, It does produce different elements. It produces certain physical conditions, and it produces certain type of psychological hallucination type of mental conditions. So, in these conversations that we have, that we should have, that we had to have, is that, we go into these locations, and it's important to understand that not everything is a freaking ghost. It's important to understand that. And there are causes and effects of certain things. Now, scientifically, we can walk into a place like Mackey's and say, well, this place, the installation of electricity really sucks. And we know that when you walk into locations or people that live in homes that have a very high EMF base reading of like a 3 or 4, I think the safe range is under 2. Think that your EMF, if you walk around with a gauge, you can even download them on your phone now because the mobile phones actually have the magnet inside of it that allows you to be able to get accurate readings. If you walk around the house and you get under a 2, you're okay. But if you're walking around the house and you're getting a 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 7, it's going to cause issues for you. Guaranteed it's going to cause issues for you. Now, there's scientific logic to that. But just because we can come up with scientific logic doesn't mean that that is the end all. Because what is causing certain sounds? Because it's not a hallucination when a real material item moves. That's not a real hallucination because that's a real moving object. It's not your brain thinking something moved. So now we've exceeded the medical explanation of the EMF because in a lot of these locations where you actually do have a high EMF, you have a lot of paranormal shit going on. People poop and pass out and people go home with nightmares. So, could it be one of one and one of both or both of one and whatever? Yeah, it could be. Or it could be an energizer. It could be an energy point to where maybe it attracts certain entities that need that energy to be able to produce and scare the shit out of people. We got a call, about 4 years ago. Some of you might remember this. Linda says, Rocky, you know damn well that my boys and I will stand by you after you stood by us through everything we went through. Oh, come on, girl. This year was easy. We're good. You got us whenever you need us. Come on. It's like a paranormal. I think that Mary Mansfield said it's like a paranormal charging station. I think that because a lot of locations, if I sit here and if I started to do data logging on the different locations that I investigated, and I start looking at the higher level hauntings, and I could come up with 4 places literally right off the bat, and every single one of them were either by a major river, they're by a power plant, nuclear plant, because up north we have nuclear plants. So there's always something within the vicinity of it that in some form or the other was an energy producer. Even railroad tracks. Don't know for sure if they do or don't, but, what up, Yehudi? My brother, what's going on? So we get a call. There's this town in Wisconsin. They have the most sightings of UFOs. I'm trying to think of the town. I've always had a problem remembering the name of the stupid town. It was actually not that far from my house. It was about 45 minutes from my house. We got a call one day. Some of you heard this story, but it was from a frantic priest. He was a Catholic priest, and it really threw me. It threw me for kind of a loop because, Catholicism is a little bit different. A lot of people, I grew up Catholic. A lot of people that I know that are Catholics, they get super weirded out about what I do when it comes to trying to research and understand, our existence. They get super weirded out by it. He was freaking out. And there's something really weird about this town. Again, like I said, it's one of the most UFO sightings in this town in the entire state of Wisconsin, one of them. So much so that they have the official Wisconsin UFO days in this town. And I remember the first time driving to go to look at this church, and I'll explain the story real quick, but I remember when I was entering the town, you actually went down and you were surrounded. They weren't mountains, because up in Minnesota, we don't have mountains, because the glaciers, what the glaciers actually did up in Minnesota, Wisconsin, is that when the glaciers were moving from Canada down south, they actually dug down. So they're not mountains that grow up like Colorado, like the Rocky Mountains. Up north, all the cliffs and the beautiful scenery that you see are the reasoning of everything being sculpted down. And so we drove down into this kind of a valley thing. And it was weird because I instantly felt a different energy in my body. And I didn't jump to conclusion right away. I didn't right away be like, holy cow, this whole town is haunted. But I thought it. It was the first thing that did come to mind because, I've been doing this long enough to where my body talks to me pretty good. But there was something weird. And I don't know if my body was picking up like a paranormal, supernatural type of energy, or if my body was actually picking up something in the area, right? Because there were some weird satellites. There were some weird towers in the area. I didn't know if my body was picking up that energy source. I didn't understand it. But the town was freaking weird. I drove around it wasn't big, but I drove around the neighborhoods and I was looking at these houses and I was getting nauseous. I was like, my God, there's just something that's not right. And so we ended up getting to the location and we met this priest at the rectory. Obviously most people understand what it is. And, rectory is where the priest lives. I don't know if the nuns live there or not because, there may be some funny play, and they got to keep them separated. They're like high school kids, they do funny stuff. They play spin the bottle and stuff on Friday nights. They sure do. They play spin the bottle and then they go confess to one another. So it's all good. They got a good system. Some strange energy vortex could explain both the paranormal stuff and I agree. See, that's it, Mary. And we're going to get into this and we'll get into it in the second segment too, because churches, we have this perception because it's a church that it's a safe space. We have this perception that spiritually that's where you go. Like if there's a zombie apocalypse, you damn well guarantee that there's going to be a bunch of people, one form or the other, that are going to run to a church thinking that, at least if they die, they're going to die at a church. So it's kind of like an easier in, it's like their ticket. They get an early plane ticket. What up, Curtis? What up, James? He says, if Catholic priests got it from nuns like that, you know what I'm saying? It would be going down. It would be going down. The priest, and we're getting close to the bottom of the hour break, but the priest was awakened one night because he heard ruffling in the kitchen. Now, this church was built in the 1800s. It was called Sacred Heart Church. My grade school is called Sacred Heart, which I found really weird. I didn't even know how this priest got my information. All the major cases I've ever done, they have never, I don't know how the people have got my information. So it's a spiritual thing, I believe. He heard ruffling in the kitchen. And so when he went down into the he went down to the kitchen because he thought somebody's breaking in. And so he came down the stairs from the upstairs. Now the rectory, it wasn't a huge Victorian house, but it was an older house built in the 1800s, but it was a nice size house. It wasn't a tiny house. It was an old town. It is what it is. And so, with that, he went in the kitchen and there's a little girl standing in the kitchen and she was wearing dated clothing. So let's say, I think he was saying like 1800 style clothing. And she was just standing there and he freaked out and he ran into the living quarters, the living area, the living room. And he sat down on the couch. This is a priest telling me this. Now, mind you, the priest had to lie to the deacon and the other, people involved with the church. I think there was 4 or 5 people that actually lived in that rectory. He had to lie to them and they were all out of town for that weekend. He sent them all out of town literally so we could come to this location because it goes so against the belief system of people that were at the church. So he goes and he sits down in the living room and he's freaking out. And the reason he's freaking out is because he saw something there again. Now his belief system was just challenged, right? Because when you grow up and you're indoctrinated to believe something, you become staunch in that belief, it becomes reality. So anything that goes against it, it's hard for you to process it. And so he started justifying it. Okay, I just woke up. I was still kind of in a dream state. I'm hallucinating. Okay, whatever. So he mustered up some courage. He stood back up. He went back in the kitchen just to kind of say, hey, okay, I'm seeing things. Well, when he went back in the kitchen the second time, again, the reason I repeat myself on this came from a Catholic priest. And when he was telling us this story, when we were interviewing him in the rectory, you actually saw genuine fear come from him. I don't know if it was fear, if it was confusion. He didn't understand because his belief system never allowed him to explore that realm of existence. He didn't understand what he was dealing with. So automatically he's thinking demon, right? He's thinking the devil's out to get him, the devil's out to attack him. But what happened when he went in the second time? This is the part that threw him over. This is the part that gave him his Bonnie and Clyde moment. Is when he went back in the second time into the kitchen just to validate he was losing his mind. The girl was still in there. And this is kind of unheard of to me. I've never, the stories I hear in regards to repeats, meaning that you see an apparition, you walk away and you come back and the apparition is still there. It's probably, I can count that on one hand. And I don't know, I've been doing this 10, 11, 12 years. I don't even know how long I've been doing it. It's just a long time. But when he went back in the kitchen, here's the part that got him. It wasn't that she was still there. That would get anybody. But the second time, it was the fact that she was making eye contact with him. That changes the whole game. And that would freak me out. See, eyes freak me out. Eyeballs, they freak me out. I told you guys about that one time. We had a newspaper reporter with us in this location. It was an old jail up in, it don't matter, Taylor's Falls, Wisconsin. And so we did this scrying with the candle and the forehead and the third eye stuff. And I actually seen this woman, seen her face turn into a beast, turn into like a Sasquatch looking type of creature. In front of the, it was the first time I ever did it too. I felt really weird. And in front of the reporter, I literally fell on the floor freaking out because, again, my mind wasn't prepared for that. And so I went like a whole week. I went like a whole week without looking in the mirror. I could not look in my rearview mirror. I didn't want to see eyeballs. Eyeballs were freaking me out because when I saw her face change and I saw this creature, I was dialed in on her eyes. And her eyes were locked in on me, and I still see that. And that it kind of sticks with me a little bit. But anyways, so when the priest goes back into the kitchen, because I want to be at the bottom of the hour here, what really set him off was the eye contact. Now, when you get the eye contact, that's telling you right off the bat that, boom, check it out. Now it's not residual. All right, now it's not something, because I always wondered about the clothing. You know, how does that work in spirit? Do we stay in fashion of the era that we died forever in eternity, or however long we choose to stay on this planet in limbo? That's why I always thought, lots of times when people actually see clothes and it's dated, you would automatically kind of assume it would be something residual. But some of the most amazing stories I've heard where people have had interactions where they thought it was a legitimate human being, where they were having a conversation, eye contact, gratitude, thank you, you're welcomes. In a second, that one of those people were never there. And that happens to just the most common people. Oh, there it is. All right, now I can stop panicking, wondering when the hell that was going to start. When we come back, I want to get on to some of these haunted cemeteries. I'm going to finish the story about Sacred Heart Church, the investigation, because we did investigate the location. And then some haunted churches. And why do people think that the churches are the safe spot? Folks, hey, it's Thursday night, Abnormal Realities. Ron will be back next week. I love the hell out of each and every one of you. Do not go anywhere. We have a whole nother segment, kids. Come on, let's go.
At Romika Designs, we're more than just a laser engraving and specialty design company. Much more. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Romika Designs. And if you can dream it, we can probably make it. We can custom laser cut and engrave on nearly all material. Great for one-of-a-kind gifts, home decor, business and specialty items, or personalized and logo designs created just for you or your company. Allow us to become your go-to gift and specialty project partner. Romika Designs can help make your ideas a reality. We're ready to help you design and create that special gift for any occasion or engrave your personal or business logo on just about any product. View our designs at romikadesigns.com or simply email us with your ideas. We specialize in custom design and would be honored to have the opportunity to discuss it with you. Call us at 817-400-4040, email info@romikadesigns.com, or visit us on the web at romikadesigns.com.
Abnormal realities.
Bro, why are you feeling that energy right now?
It's a pretty good energy I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Dude, Tinkerbell had a crush on.
On what?
Dude, she was always wearing like tiny skirts.
She was wearing tiny skirts.
Do you think that was subliminal?
Of course it was. It's Disney. Come on. Everybody knows Disney's subliminal.
What?
Yeah, dude. The front of the Little Mermaid VHS case. Come on, there's a big old wiener on it.
What?
Not even joking.
Show us right
What?
now. Where?
What? What?
On where?
On the old Little Mermaid case.
Okay.
You search wiener on Little Mermaid case.
Wiener on. I didn't even play.
You let me know if you don't see a big old thing right on the front of that case.
Why are you yelling at me? I'm
Just
stressed.
pull one up. Look at the tower.
Abnormal realities.
I hate that I knew that. Damn it.
With Ron and Rocky. 8 p.m. Eastern. Mojo 50.
Oh, man, I almost forgot about that part. You know, I'm a little rusty. I almost forgot about the drums, but you know what? I came through. I followed through. Folks, welcome back to the program. Second segment of Abnormal Realities. You can catch us here every Thursday night, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. abnormalrealities.com. You can find us on Odyssey Radio, ODYSY radio.com. And all the podcast platforms, man. Go back and listen to some of those shows, man. And we got some crazy, crazy shows that we've done. We've been doing this now for a little over a year and a half. It was July 5th was our 1 year anniversary. And now we're coming up into January. So we Abnormal Realities. I know the scheduling's changed over some time, but we're blessed. It's been fun. We got some great conversations. We've had some great guests on the show. I love talking about this stuff. You can also catch my show along with the great Ron Phillips Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. That is the Rocky Stucci Show, rockystucci.com. Come on over to the YouTube channel over there. I actually set up a separate YouTube channel because some of the topics that we do talk about are controversial, and I do not want to risk having the Facebook page of Abnormal Realities or the YouTube channel of Abnormal Realities put in any danger of any kind, because I've had experience doing this. And I know that there's just a small amount of people that watch. I call y'all family. But the downloads, I actually literally sent Ron a message before the show about 6 o'clock tonight. I just had to show him this is the downloads that we're at right now just for today for the last 24 hours. It's just, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if we're using the right keywords or if we're typing things differently. I haven't done anything special. So I don't understand. I know we're a prime show on Spreaker. But I don't know, but thank you, man. Holy crap. Thank you. Super appreciate it. Man, I did something with my Windows security, and now I got all this stupid stuff that's giving me all these alarms. But anyway, so let's get back on with it. And I'm talking about, it's youtube.com/@Rocky Stucci. Get over there. Make sure you like, I don't even have 100 subscribers yet over there. I mean, damn. Man, no love. This priest was freaked out. Coming back into the second segment, when I left the first segment talking about Sacred Heart Church in a small town in Wisconsin, and this guy was freaked out, and he told us a story, and I've never believed anybody more in my life. This guy was genuine. He was afraid when he told the story. He was even jumpy. He was even jumpy in the location. And then he started talking about a lot of things that have been happening over in the church itself, right next door. Now, it's weird because there was another place in Minnesota called the Emmanuel Lutheran Church, and I investigated that place. Really haunted. I remember just driving up to the church. I wasn't even out of my car yet. and my entire body stood up. My entire body stood, I mean, the hairs, it was incredible. In fact, certain hairs stood up that weren't even there. They weren't even real hairs, but they were like ghost hairs. I literally fired up my spirit box in my vehicle and I got crazy communication. So it's not just the church, it's the area. Walked up to the door, it was locked. I ended up calling, it was a Baptist church, so whatever they call, I don't know, it was a Baptist speaker person. I don't know what they call them in a Baptist church. Minister, pastor, something like that. Play for Productions, church investigations, but no. It says, hey, Rocky, finally I made it to the show. Was going to get on the show with you a while back and talk about investigations I have done. Just one. Hey, just get a hold of me. Get a hold of me. Oh, okay, I know who you are now, bro. Come on, get a hold of me. I remember you were talking some Gettysburg stuff. Let's get you on here, man. Let's get you on. So, when I talk to the pastor, oh, Reverend, thank you, Reverend, preacher or brother. Okay, you know, I thought everybody was just showing me love for a second. Everybody's saying brother. I'm like, okay, what's up, everybody? It was like nothing to them. I thought I was going to get a little resistance just for the contact because churches are really weird. They're very open about it. All the people that go to this church are very open about it. And now the same thing happened in both churches. In Sacred Heart Church and in the Emmanuel Lutheran Church, if you just went upstairs at any time, day or night, at least for 30 minutes and just sat in one of the pews or the chairs or just find somewhere to sit, and you hear people. You hear people. You hear people downstairs like it's the gathering after church. It's the donuts and it's the coffee, you know? It's where you go talk behind everybody's back type of thing for Catholic people. You know, they go right from church downstairs for donuts and cookies so they can talk shit. You know, talk about Susie and Pete over there. They're having a little thing going on. You know, even though it's not our business, we're going to talk about them. You know? It's interesting because, you know, this is where the conversation comes into play, is that what are we hearing? Are we hearing residual? Are we hearing those in spirit? Because obviously the ones in the Emmanuel Lutheran Church and the ones in the Sacred Heart Church were both intelligent. Both of them. Both cases were intelligent hauntings. And this is when I posed a question one time. In regards to a haunting, let's say you go to a church. Let's say you go to England or you go to Ireland, right? And you find an old Catholic 500-year-old church. So you have 5 centuries of history in this church, 5 centuries of emotions, of marriages, of deaths, happy moments, sad moments, crises, safety, war. You got all this stuff going on, right? So when you have people from different centuries pass on, but yet they choose, for some reason, however it works, they choose that they want to stay at that church. Do they have the capabilities to interact with one another? Do they have the capabilities to see one another? Do they understand that they are from far different realms of existence? When I pass, I'll see my grandpa. I'll see my grandma. Is grandpa going to be wearing the clothes he was wearing back in the 70s? With his Miller or his Schmidt beer and wearing his Schmidt hat with his Schmidt lamp because he worked at Schmidt Brewery? Where's grandpa going to be? Am I going to be able to see grandpa? Because it's a different time. How does it work? Do we have a choice? Do we have a choice? Can we cross times? Can we travel to the past and to the future in spirit? You don't know. You don't know. And so when you go to these locations that have multiple hauntings, because you hear dark hauntings too. So you go to a church and you hear about all these people downstairs, all these ghosts downstairs, they're having donuts and cookies. And then people, they show up with donuts and cookies and they're super excited, and they're rolling balls around and trying to get the ghost to roll the ball back to them. But upstairs, you have a person sharing an experience of a terrifying experience. It's something dark and malevolent. And is that dark and malevolent entity in control? Or does it know of the entities downstairs? Are they living in two different realms of existence at two different times? It's so confusing. But when it comes to a physical structure, I think regardless of it being a place of worship, I think it's more or less a place of impact. And I think the relevancy of belief, I don't think is as important of the authenticity of the haunting. Oh, damn. Woo. Man, that just rolled out. Like I knew what I was talking about right there. I couldn't even repeat what I just said. That's how good it was. I couldn't even repeat what I just said. I remember when I went to that location that I talked about, the lady from Peru. And when I went into her house was saturated with religious relics. And she was super frustrated because she was very deterred that those relics did not give her the protection that she expected them to. And because I told her that the physical objects are just that. They're just physical objects. It's your faith in those. It's what the objects represent. And do those objects and their representation represent what you represent? And do you believe it? Or do you just pretend you do? So she was obviously a pretend Christian. She was the type of Christian that had the Bibles. She was the type of Christian that had the rosaries hanging on her wall. She was the type of Christian that said, God bless you, I'll pray for you. But she wasn't the type of Christian that believed everything she said. There was a lot of something going on in her soul that separated her from her belief system, because you cannot have that much relics in a location and be that spiritually weak. Or maybe that's why you had that much in your location. I don't know. So, irregardless of the holy water being in the house, irregardless of a Bible being in every single room, irregardless of the rosaries hanging on every single wall, that house was still extremely haunted. So a church, I think a lot of times in locations like churches, I think the emotions could draw and attract certain things. I mean, think about prayer, right? Prayer. However you want to talk about it, prayer, magic, however, people will get a freaking chicken and cut its head off, and that's their form of prayer. I'm using the term prayer. It's the intent. We're trying to manifest. We're asking for better health. We're asking for safety. We're asking for this planet to get its shit together. We're asking for, more money. We're asking for security. We're asking for our friends to be safe and our friends and their families to be healthy. However you want to look at it, you are creating an intent because you want a result of what you're hoping for. So however you do it, you do it. So go to a church and you look at some of these churches throughout the world that deem to be the most haunted locations on the planet. And it's not so much because of the place of the worship. It was because of some of the episodes that happened on that property or in that property. A lot of it is that emotional. Like when people have PTSD, it's that emotion being so strong that it embeds that image right at the forefront of your brain. And that's why when people have PTSD, that they have the triggers all the time, because they can't seem to get rid of that compartment right there. And so I think the relevancy is kind of similar to the paranormal thing, is that, a greater impact. That location has PTSD, has post-traumatic stress. That location, the energy has been stressed. It has been impacted. But I also believe that churches can probably be some of the darker places too when it comes to hauntings, because the vulnerability of people. A lot of people are spiritually lost, and that's why they're at church. They're finding their way. I'm not a spiritually lost person because I got questions. I feel very spiritually confident. I feel very spiritually confident in how I believe about things, because I have the understanding with myself already that I can change. I don't have a belief system where I'm locked in. You know, I'm not like your typical everyday Catholic, where this is it. These were the teachings. Don't question it. Just do it, right? And this is why I have this fascination of wanting to talk to people of other faiths and other religions, whether it be witches, voodoo witches, whether it be a pagan, whether it be a Wiccan. It don't matter. I would just want to understand. And at the end of most of those conversations, you're like, okay, so you just say it's something different, but yet you're still, okay, so you're going to carve in a candle and rub some ashes in your carving and light the candle. That's how you pray. Okay, you can have 2 wives. Your headache, not mine. You know, go do it. I don't talk to dead people, Paige said. Cemeteries. Yeah, cemeteries are interesting. That's where I got my first shadow person. There again, I believe I got a picture one time. It was a mausoleum, and my sister Leah was with me. It was a really old cemetery in St. Paul, right off of Roselawn. It's called Roselawn Cemetery. It goes back to the 1700s. And my sister Leah went and she was looking inside a mausoleum, and I just took a picture of her looking in the window, and we actually got a picture of a human hand right on her breast. I mean, you saw it. You saw all the fingers. You saw the fingernails. You saw it literally cuffing her boob. And we didn't see it till we got home. I didn't even know I captured it. She was actually going through the pictures. I was probably already out and back with my dad doing something, and she came freaking out, screaming for me. She showed me the picture, and I couldn't believe what I saw. It was weird. But there again, so churches have people that are going through a lot of spiritual relocating, right? Some people are unindoctrinating themselves and trying to understand things differently. People are trying to give themselves back to Christ. Same thing with treatment centers, spiritually broken people. High activity of darker, malevolent type of spirits. And then let's go to the cemeteries. Same thing. You know, I don't know one family that's ever went to a cemetery to party. I don't know one family that's ever been to a cemetery to celebrate a birthday party. You know, mind you, you know what I'm saying, right? Cemetery is a place where we put people to rest. That's why I've always had an issue with investigating cemeteries, just because of the common respect of not just the dead, but the living. It was scary, Deb. It's creepy. It was creepy. So I believe, you know, the cemetery thing, because of the sadness that is imprinted within that area. And depending on, you know, if there's energy sources around, if there's rivers, if there's lakes, if there's power lines, if there's plants, whatever, I believe that there are some more malevolent style of creatures that kind of play around in the cemetery thing. I really do. How do you feel about cremation? All right, so Curtis, cremation. So my answer isn't going to be based off of a religious view. It's not. You know, one of the things that scare me the most is burning to death. And it's weird. So what did I do? I became a firefighter. Makes total sense. But so you find a way to combat against what fears you possess the most. This is the wrong answer, because the way I'm thinking about it is wrong. I don't know what to do with my body when I die. I've literally told my family, I've told Lisa even, I was like, just do whatever. I don't even need to know. Just do whatever you think is necessary. You know, traditionally, one side of my family is all cremation, and the other side of the family, I almost drowned one time, James. The other side of the family is non-cremation. And so, you know, think about it. I literally just saw a video the other day. My dad, after he retired, he worked in the cemetery. He did lawn care and just, you know, he just needed something to do. But sometimes when you dig down, you have to punch a hole in the caskets because the fluids. And then rainwater gets in and it mixes with the fluids. And sometimes that liquid stays trapped. and it will seep through and it will produce an odor. So you can find the videos where they have to dig down to these caskets and they have to punch a hole and all this disgusting liquid comes out. And they just let it kind of soak into earth and this becomes earth. What am I saying? So, I think about my body and I don't cherish myself. So I don't want it to come off as a conceited thing. I don't want to think of my physical body becoming that. You're thinking it's underground. If my casket fills up with water, I become this zombie looking nasty skeletal thing. I got earthworms eating me and different centipedes eating me and sucking my eyeballs out. My hair will still keep growing. So when you open my casket in 100 years, I look like, shit, a Neanderthal. There ain't going to be nobody to brush my hair for me. No, I'm just kidding. So I don't know, I think about that and I shouldn't be concerned about the physical part. I shouldn't be concerned about the meat suit, but I think about it. But then the other part too, so cremation. I think about cremation when it comes to cost. If you get buried, it's a hell of a lot more expensive because you have to pay for the caskets. You have to pay for the ground. Yeah, there's so much more you have to pay for. And it's stupid how much people have to pay to bury somebody. When you get cremated, okay, you get put in a jar, or you get put in a wall or whatever it is, but you're not decaying underground and earthworms aren't eating your shit. You know that you don't have centipedes crawling in your skull bones. I don't want that. Even though I know I'm dead, I don't want centipedes crawling in my skull bones. I don't. If I don't like them when I'm alive, I don't like them when I'm dead. But it's just weird because you fear fire, you fear dying in fire, you fear burning to death. Become a firefighter. Now I find this amazing satisfaction of running into a blazing freaking building at 500 degrees. I don't want to burn to death, but yet I'm willing to consider burning my body when I die. So I don't know. I don't know if anybody else goes through this contemplation like I do, but I do. I contemplate it all the time. And that's where I just get to the point where it's just like, just do whatever. I think I'm just concluding just for the cost of everything. And I got all the insurances and everything, but I don't want to produce a burden. So if it's easier for me to just be like, go put me in a freaking pickle jar, go release me, whatever. I want to be the less of a burden to people after I pass than anything else. So great question. What's going on in the chat room over there? You won't be there, as Paul states, absence from the body, presence from the Lord. You will not be in your body the second after the body dies. No, understood. Question on that. So when people have a near-death experience, there's another thing too where I go into that realm. So there was, just in the chat room, Blade 4 Productions, he says, you won't be there. Okay, we're talking about the cremation part or talking about being put in a casket. As Paul states, absence from the body presents with the Lord. You will not be in your body the second after your body dies. So when people have a near-death experience, when people, there have been people that have gone out and been dead for over 20 minutes. There's other miraculous stories where people have been dead longer than that. Even if somebody's dead for 5 minutes, your soul is gone. You're flatline. Your body is dead. Does your soul stick around just in case? Does it stick around just in case, they get you back to life? This is where I run into that conflict of the teachings, because I get the point and I understand it and I pretty much align with it. But there's those parts where we have these phenomenal stories, and we've had these guests come on the show where they've had these life after these near-death experiences, and it's how do you explain that? So the body becomes soulless, but the soul is allowed to come back in your body, or does the soul not leave the body because it knows it's not going to die? That's kind of the part to where my brain goes kind of crazy on all that. James says, toss my corpse in the local dump. I don't care. I'm done with this vessel. I want to be like that, James. I do, man. Sorry, I was getting a little comfortable in my chair. I want to be like that too. I don't know why I'm kind of hooked on the not being able to decide and this back and forth thing. It's just creepy. Linda says cremation is just as much as being buried in a casket. Is it really? Damn, sooner or later, I am so sick and tired of every aspect of our life literally bankrupts us, everything. But let me see. Paige says 555. What does that mean, Paige? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. It's a real stress off your family when you make preparations. Yeah, and I, for the most part, have all my stuff taken care of, and that is a great suggestion. You don't want to think about it, you don't want to face it, but I got to tell you something. Just the last month of my life, there's been things that have gone through my brain, man. It's just like, I'm not that Superman anymore. I'm not this guy that was indestructible for so long. I found myself to have certain vulnerabilities, and I don't like it. I don't like being vulnerable, but I have to conclude that it is what it is. And I'm 49 years old. And I can't pretend the fact that, things are going to happen, and I need to make sure that my family's prepared when that does happen, and vice versa. It's just, this world is dumb, and insurances. If I would have had different insurances, I could have got this one package to where every day you're in the hospital, you get $500 cash, and I didn't want to spend the extra $4 a paycheck or whatever it was. There's something stupid why I didn't get it, and now I'm sitting here saying it's like, oh my God, could you imagine how much money that? $500 a day, you're in the hospital for 8 days. Yeah, it's $4,000. I mean, damn. So, let's see. Deb says, yes, Thomas, my mother-in-law did that for what is she? What? I'm missing so much. It's a real stress. I got you. Deb, again, we're praying for you. We're praying for mama and everybody in your family. James says, my father died several times on an OR table. Did he ping pong back and forth? See, bro, I don't know. Have you talked to Pops about it? Mary says, my husband had a couple of NDEs and swears his soul went somewhere else and then returned. Oh, and I was supposed to do this too. Man, I failed you guys dramatically tonight because I was supposed to have this on. I was just going to kind of have I don't know if you can hear it, kind of creepy background music on. But anyways, Linda says, I'm just going through the chat here. Rocky, when my died 5 years ago, it was insane as what they chart. Yeah, I'm saying, man. Yep, and it happened to me too. Part of why I am here tonight. Amen, brother. Amen. I'd like to hear more about it. So we'll get you on, brother. We'll get you on. We'll talk about Gettysburg, and we'll talk about your NDE and a bunch of other stuff. James says, there went your lottery ticket winnings because you gambled on yourself. Shouldn't you bet on the double? Hey, bro, don't judge me, James. Don't judge me. So anyways, we're getting close here to the bottom of, or the top of the hour. And next week, Ron will be back. Yeah, we got 2 minutes before I have to be out. Ron will be back next week. I love you guys. I do appreciate you. Appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. Make sure you get on over to the other YouTube channel as well. It's youtube.com/@ Rocky Stucci. They got that new way of doing it now. There is where you can catch the Rocky Stucci show with Brother Filippo, myself, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And then, of course, Thursday nights is going to be Abnormal Realities. We have Battle Scars coming up. And we got a bunch of other stuff coming up, and Miracle League is right around the corner, man. Super cool things. Guys, get on down, man. Get on down to Fort Worth. Come on down and hang out. Yeah, I'd love to see you guys. But anyways, I got the next few days off, and I'm going to chill out for the next few days, get some work done around here. I love you. I appreciate you. RockyStucciShow.com. If you want to, the lights just flashed. If you want to contribute to the program, that is I do have a PayPal donation, paypal.me/Rocky Stucci. Thank you for those that contributed yesterday. I appreciate it. You guys are going to start seeing with the increase of everything going on, there's going to be some more promos and some pushing of products, but that's why we do what we do. And that's how we pay the bills. So I love you. I appreciate you. Rosie Sky, love you too, Rocky. No, I love you. Okay. No, I love you. Linda says, bring on New Year's Eve. Happy New Year, each and every one of you. Good call, Linda. Good looking out. Wish you all a great end of your 2022. We're going to have a badass year next year, 2023. Be excited. This is the Meatball family, so we're all doing this together. You guys have been with me since I moved down here to Texas, man. We're all going to take over the world together and come up with our own damn conspiracies. All right, RockyStucciShow.com, AbnormalRealities.com, RomikaDesigns.com. Folks, from my family to yours, much love, much respect. And until Monday night for the Rocky Stucci Show, folks, I love the hell out of you. And rule number one, don't take shit from nobody. Good night, everybody.